Today we're going to test the somatosensory system, specifically temperature, which uses the pathway of the spinal and thalamic tract, which is part of the anterolateral column. It begins when cutaneous receptors in the periphery, which are free nerve endings, receive stimuli and transmit that info to the body of the first order neuron in the dorsal root ganglion, where it synapses ipsilaterally in the dorsal horn at lamina 1, 2, or 5 of the spinal cord. The second order neuron synapses with the cell body in the dorsal horn and immediately decussates at the level of the cord. This is known as the anterior white commissure. The axon then travels very laterally in the anterolateral system, ascending through the cord and brainstem to the synapse of the ventral posterior lateral nucleus of the thalamus. And the third order neuron cell body is located there in the VPL, and its axon travels to the primary somatosensory cortex, medially for the lower extremity, or in the case that we'll be testing today, superior laterally for the upper extremity. Secondary, we will be testing kinesthesia of the big toe. This is part of the somatosensory system, specifically the posterior spinocerebellar tract, and receptors in the muscles, tendons, and joints relay proprioceptive info to the first order neuron cell body in the dorsal root ganglion. Its axon then travels in the cord and synapses on the second order neuron in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, which is Clark's nucleus. And the proximal axon runs ipsilaterally up the cord and brainstem to the cerebellar cortex via the inferior cerebellar peduncle. So that's kind of what's behind what we're going to do today, but very simply, I'm just going to test sensation for temperature and kinesthesia. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use these two tubes. One is at cold and the other is warm. And so what I want you to do today, Mr. Kelly, is I want you to tell me, go ahead and close your eyes. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch you with one that's cold and one that's warm. And so what I want you to do, when I do that, go ahead and close your eyes and you tell me what you feel. So here's the first one.
Cold.
And
warm.
Okay, and then again.
Cold. Warm. Warm. Cold.
And one more.
Warm.
Okay.
Warm.
All right, great. So his sensation is intact with that C8 dermatome. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to test his ability to tell where his toe is, and how it's moving. So the first thing I want you to do, Mr. Kelly, is just know that this is up when I bring it towards your head, and that this is down. So that when I pull it up, I want you to say up, and then when I push it down, I want you to say down. So go ahead and close your eyes. All right, and tell me when I move it.
Up. Down. 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 Up. Down. Up.
Very good. So everything there is also intact.